In November 2017, an international team of scientists announced a discovery that stunned the archaeological world. Hidden deep inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, a structure that has been studied, measured, and explored for over 4,500 years, they had found something completely new. A massive empty space, at least 30 meters long, located directly above the pyramid's grand gallery. Never seen, never entered, never mentioned in any historical record. And here is the part that sounds like science fiction. They didn't find it with X-rays. They didn't find it by drilling. They found it using subatomic particles that are constantly raining down on Earth from outer space. Nearly 5,000 years after the Great Pyramid was built, cosmic rays from deep space helped reveal a secret that had been sitting directly above one of the most studied rooms in human history, completely unnoticed. Welcome back to the hidden archive where history hides its secrets. Today we are looking at one of the most genuinely remarkable applications of modern physics to ancient mystery and what scientists still don't know about it. Subscribe if you're new. A new mystery every week. The ScanPyramids Project. The discovery came from an international research initiative called ScanPyramids, launched in 2015 as a collaboration between Cairo University, the French Heritage Innovation Preservation Institute, and several other research organizations, with the full cooperation and oversight of Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities. The project's explicit goal was to use only non-invasive scanning techniques that require no drilling, no damage, and no physical entry to study the internal structure of Egypt's major pyramids, including the Great Pyramid of Khufu, its neighbor the Bent Pyramid, and the Red Pyramid at Dahshur. This approach was a deliberate response to decades of more invasive pyramid exploration, including controversial historical episodes where explorers used dynamite and drills to force their way into sealed chambers. ScanPyramids wanted definitive proof of any hidden spaces before anyone considered a more invasive approach. The primary technique the team used is called Muon tomography, and to understand this discovery, you first need to understand what a muon actually is. What are muons? Muons are subatomic particles, similar to electrons but roughly 200 times heavier, that are created constantly, high in Earth's atmosphere, when cosmic rays, high-energy particles arriving from deep space, including from distant supernovae, collide with atmospheric molecules. Billions of muons rain down on every square meter of Earth's surface every single day. They pass through solid matter including rock and stone, losing energy as they go, but many of them successfully pass all the way through even massive structures like a 146-meter tall pyramid. Here is the key scientific principle. Muons travel through empty space more easily than through dense material like solid limestone blocks. If you place specialized muon detectors inside or beneath a structure, and carefully count how many muons arrive from different angles over an extended period, you can effectively build an image of the structure's internal density, similar in principle to how a medical X-ray reveals bone versus soft tissue based on different levels of absorption. Where more muons pass through than expected, that indicates less dense material, potentially an empty void, rather than solid stone. This technique was actually first used on a pyramid back in the 1960s, by Nobel Prize-winning physicist Luis Alvarez, who used it to search the Pyramid of Khafre for hidden chambers. Alvarez found no significant voids in that instance, but the technique itself proved that ancient massive structures could genuinely be studied using particles from outer space. The discovery. The ScanPyramids team installed multiple different types of muon detectors at different locations, including specialized nuclear emulsion film detectors placed inside the pyramid's known Queen's Chamber, and additional detector arrays positioned outside the pyramid entirely, to independently cross-verify any results using completely different technology. By 2016, one detector type had begun showing an unusual anomaly, evidence suggesting a significant void somewhere above the pyramid's Grand Gallery, the impressive corbelled corridor that leads up toward the king's chamber. Rather than announcing anything prematurely, the team spent an additional year gathering data using multiple independent detector systems, specifically to rule out technical errors or false signals, before feeling confident enough to publish their findings. In November 2017, the team published their results in the prestigious scientific journal Nature, confirming, using 3 separate and independent detection technologies, the existence of a large void directly above the Grand Gallery. The void's dimensions were estimated at a minimum of 30 meters in length, with a cross-section similar in scale to the Grand Gallery itself. Its exact shape, purpose, and full extent remain genuinely uncertain. The Muon data can confirm empty space exists, and roughly where, but cannot reveal detailed shape, contents, or function. This is now known, somewhat informally, as the Big Void, the most significant structural discovery inside the Great Pyramid in over a century. What could it be? Since the 2017 announcement, archaeologists and Egyptologists have proposed several competing theories about the void's purpose, though none has been confirmed. An internal construction ramp, one leading theory, championed by French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin, suggests the void could be part of an internal spiral ramp system that ancient builders used to move massive stone blocks upward during the pyramid's original construction, a structural remnant of the building process itself, rather than a deliberately designed permanent chamber. A relieving chamber. Another theory suggests the void may function similarly to known relieving chambers found elsewhere in the pyramid, structural gaps specifically engineered by ancient architects to redistribute the enormous weight of stone above critical spaces like the Grand Gallery and King's Chamber, preventing structural collapse under the pyramid's own tremendous mass. An undiscovered chamber. A more dramatic possibility, though currently unsupported by direct evidence, is that the void could represent a genuinely undiscovered chamber, potentially even an unlooted burial or ceremonial space, given the Great Pyramid's function as Pharaoh Khufu's tomb. Egyptologist Zahi Hawass, former head of Egypt's Antiquities Authority, has publicly expressed skepticism about the more dramatic hidden chamber theories, suggesting the void more likely represents a construction feature or gap rather than a deliberately designed and decorated room, though he has also acknowledged that Muon imaging alone cannot definitively settle the question. Why we haven't looked inside. This is perhaps the most frustrating part of the story for anyone eager for an immediate answer. As of the time of this video, no one has physically entered the void, and no camera has been inserted directly into it. The challenge is significant. The void is located deep within solid limestone, with no known existing passage leading directly to it. Any attempt at physical access would likely require some form of drilling, precisely the kind of invasive technique the ScanPyramids Project was specifically designed to avoid, given Egypt's justified caution about damaging one of humanity's most significant and fragile ancient structures. In 2023, researchers did successfully insert an extremely small, flexible endoscopic camera through an existing tiny gap near the pyramid's main entrance, discovering a previously unknown, smaller corridor-like structure closer to the surface. But this newer 2023 discovery is understood to be a separate, smaller feature, not the same large big void detected in 2017, and still does not provide direct visual access to the larger void above the Grand Gallery. Some researchers have proposed potentially sending a small robotic probe through any naturally existing microscopic gaps, but as of now, technical and preservation concerns mean the big void remains unexplored by direct observation, confirmed to exist through physics, but still genuinely a mystery in terms of its contents, exact shape, and purpose. Here is the twist that makes the story genuinely remarkable from a scientific perspective, beyond the pyramid itself. Muon tomography, first tested on a pyramid in the 1960s and dramatically refined for the 2017 discovery, has since become an increasingly important scientific tool used far beyond archaeology. The same fundamental technique has been used to safely peer inside the damaged reactor cores at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant in Japan, following the 2011 disaster, allowing scientists to locate melted nuclear fuel without requiring anyone to enter the extremely dangerous radioactive interior directly. It has also been used by volcanologists to study the internal density and magma structures of active volcanoes, by structural engineers checking the interior integrity of bridges and dams without invasive drilling, and even by researchers searching for potential hidden chambers inside other ancient structures around the world. In other words, the same cosmic particles that are constantly, invisibly passing through your own body right now, generated by supernovae explosions in deep space, are now one of humanity's primary tools for safely seeing inside some of our planet's most dangerous, fragile, and mysterious structures, including a pyramid built nearly 5,000 years ago that we still don't fully understand. The Great Pyramid of Giza has been studied for centuries. Every visible surface has been measured. Every known passage has been mapped and explored. And in 2017, physics revealed that there is still a significant space inside it that no human being has ever entered, and whose true purpose remains genuinely unknown. We found it using particles falling from deep space. We still don't know exactly what's inside. Sometimes, the most advanced modern science doesn't fully solve an ancient mystery, it simply reveals a new one, hiding in plain sight, directly above a room that has been walked through by millions of visitors for centuries. What do you think is inside the big void? Leave your theory in the comments. Subscribe to the Hidden Archive, a new mystery, every week, where history hides its secrets. End.